Hey, how are you doing? You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our show, which is being broadcast digitally across the globe. We're on Facebook, YouTube. You know, I'm surprised we're not Good Morning Britain. Well,
and each week we're going to try and bring you some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
And Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops, where they're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business. We can help.
We can help. We do help. And it's delightful for us to be able to help. So, 11th of June.
6 months into the new year.
It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Sorry to everyone for not because we missed the show last week. I haven't spoken to you for a couple of weeks. And it was bank holiday the week before. And the weather was incredible. And yeah, it's the weather has been particularly nice, which is lovely to see.
It was just nice to get May out the way, Ammar. It must have been the wettest May in the history of the planet. And
it certainly was up there.
Yeah, and it was so nice to get that out of the way. And the sun just gives you such a feel-good factor.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that.
I agree. And apologies to all of our viewers and listeners. I'm sat here without my jacket. It would be quite a rarity for me to do it. So, with your permission, I have done so to demonstrate the beautiful weather. However, I will always maintain standards and keep my tie on, is what I'll do.
Well, that's good. I envy the mentality that you have. And it's interesting that we're having a discussion in our workplace, how we should really all step up and begin to look a little bit smarter than what we may have done over the last few months because of the lockdown and the takeaway situation. But then I always try and use yourself, Ammar, as a benchmark of the smartest man in the city, regardless of whether you're working from home or whether you're working from the office or whether you're going to the big meetings. And I think that's the mental sharpness that it gives you because of the attire that you're wearing.
I mean, undoubtedly, Jeff. And thank you very much. I think I've shared this story previously, but I started wearing a suit very early on. I mean, some people even suggest I was born in a suit, but I'm talking about I started enjoying wearing suits 15, 16. I used to work on a weekend, saved up some money, and went off to Burtons and bought. and
Burtons, man! Oh my God. Burtons. I mean, how do you explain to people? People probably don't know what Burtons is. I don't know how you explain Burtons. It's probably a very geeky version of. I mean, Primark is really cool in terms of the cuts and the style that they have. But Burton was a very boring old man's kind of shop, right?
What? Why would you say that?
Well, that's my perception of it.
Oh, right, okay. Well, maybe because I'm a boring old man.
Well, you are now, but were you 20 years ago?
Why are you saying that now? That's outrageous. I'm quite offended. So I started wearing a suit. Do I admit this live on air? Or anyway, it was black and white days. I was going to say what can happen because of your black and white days. If you look at cricket or anything like that, anything can happen because of your black and white days. But anyway, so Burtons, wasn't just an old man's, it was just an older man. So it was, you went there for your suit, so you went there for more professional wear, but they also had a trendy type of wear for the, I wouldn't say the older, well, middle-aged man. So we're really old now, so that's clearly what we are. Um, and I remember getting a Prince of Wales check suit. I can even remember getting it. And I wasn't 15, I must have been 16, and wearing it. And the difference at the time, how you were treated when you wore a suit was like, especially in Asian, it was like all of a sudden you'd gone from, am I going to get robbed, to, is this guy a doctor? Oh, he must be a professional, right?
Yeah.
So there was that big difference. But I remember equally, it enabled me to get into places and spaces that were maybe I was slightly younger for. Yeah, so that was helpful,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, it was great. Sorry, we are now live on air on Spice as well. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our weekly show. Thank you, and apologies for the slight delay, technical delay in getting onto the show. Um, Hopefully we are now live. So wearing a suit, Jeff, it became my armor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As in, literally, it became my armor. It prevented people from abusing me, treating me differently because of my color, and all of those things.
Mhm.
And it enabled me just to feel, respectful and respected.
Mhm.
And ever since, I've always worn a suit. Ever since. I remember, um, I remember at work, when I was at Telewest, and they introduced dress down Fridays in the 90s, right? It was an Americanism. Um, it was an Americanism. It was like, in America, this is what happens. And on a Friday, everybody should come in casual. And I must admit, um, I, 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 I I did try it, but then it didn't work.
Yeah.
My mindset and that mind frame and that sort of outlook was simply, you'd come in on a Friday, we'd have our national conference calls, we'd then sit and we'd go up to Lowfell and buy some lunch and get some takeaways, come back and sit and like not do any work. And it was
Mm.
just so bad and so sad. Um, but so I then reverted back to wearing a suit, and everybody was thinking, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" And it was like,
I can
it was
imagine
like,
though.
as in it was just, I couldn't.
But
No.
Ammar, if those people look back today and they work it all out, they go, hold on, remember Ammar? He had a suit on whilst we had our party clothes on. And maybe they might be saying, well, look where he is and look where we are.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jeff. I've never thought about, has the suit got me to where I'm at?
Well, no, it's not. It's not so much the suit. It's the mental. It's the mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, no, you're right. And no, but equally, it clearly helps. I mean, it was interesting, right? Because I delivered a workshop last year, and I deliver a workshop every single week. We do lots of workshop delivery, helping businesses start, survive, and thrive. I really enjoy delivering workshops, and I'm really good at it. And I always ask for feedback, and I found it really peculiar, almost offensive, when in one of the feedback post-it notes, that because we were all digitally delivered and things like that, where someone had said, no, like, what could we, so the questions I ask at the end is, what did you like? What was a win? And what could we have done differently? And someone had put in the what could we have done differently? Don't wear a tie and a suit.
Uh-huh. Don't wear a tie and a suit.
Yeah. And I actually lost a bit of sleep over that, because I just thought I would never turn around and say, Jalf, what's that silly? Well, I probably would. But what's that silly shirt that you're wearing? You know, whatever that is.
What's wrong with my shirt?
but no, you know, as in what somebody wears is as personal to them, to their hairstyle, or their, you know, their, whether they've got a beard or not, or clean shaven. You wouldn't necessarily go in a workshop professional environment, like, would you? I did want to go back, but I always take feedback properly. And the proper way to take feedback is take it in with the fact that you've asked for it. So if you ask someone, what do you think about this? And you don't like what they then say, you should never have asked them. Right? But I wasn't asking, what do you think, I'm good looking or not? I wasn't asking, you know, I wasn't asking, you know, does my bum look big in this? You know, I wasn't asking those type of things. I think they're quite personal. I was asking, what could we have done differently about that workshop delivery? But someone felt it appropriate to go, oh, lose the tie and the. Anyway, we digress. So I was talking quite simply that I was asking permission and apologizing for taking my suit jacket off. But anyway, we are here. We are here on the Friday, the 11th of June. It's quite interesting and telling, Jalf, that that there's some level of uncertainty in regards to COVID. How do you feel? You're the foremost restaurateur in the UK now, you know, with world-class food that had Harrison Ford in, no less, a childhood icon. You know, as in Indiana Jones.
Oh, what a man!
Incredible.
I think we were just, obviously it was one of those moments somehow. I think the last time I can recall having that moment was probably when we met Bill Gates.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to choose who you regard, I mean, look, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford, and Bill Gates may be the richest man in the world, but he's not a Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So to be humbled by the presence of Harrison Ford sitting and dining in your restaurant, and he was there for a good 2 hours, and I took the opportunity to actually serve him. So I kind of said, right, guys, I'm going to be the server today. So it was, because that was the only way I could get to talk to him over a period of time. Yeah. And then we managed to oh God, there's a bee after us. We managed to talk, and it was so lovely. It was so lovely. And he's such a humble person, and he's so polite, a proper gentleman. And you know, when someone like that arrives and everyone gets excited, luckily the customers didn't spot him.
Right.
And there was about 5-6 tables in and some tables outside, and luckily the media didn't show up. Yeah. Which was really, really good for us. But when he was about to leave, we kind of said, oh, Harrison, look, it's not, I don't ask for many, you know, pictures with many, but with yourself, could we have a photograph? And he said, yeah, of course. So he took his mask off in our insistence, and we started obviously taking some photographs. But then as the kitchen team kind of saw that, they all come running out the kitchen, and he turned around and he's shaking the hands of all the staff members, the chef, and he let them take their photographs, and then and then he left. And it was just so nice. We gave him a lovely gift box, which he was very thankful for. So the demeanor, it was so humbling, and obviously, moments like that, it's like euphoric, and it takes your mind into another space, and it's a beautiful moment for myself and the team, because we all felt really special. I think it was also a sense of fulfillment in some ways after the 14 months that hospitality has had. And when you create something which is, you know in your heart that you've created something really unique. And whilst, Ammar, there's friends like yourselves and family members and some very loyal guests and customers in the city that have been with you on a journey positively, but we've also had a lot of hurdles, and I don't want to go into too much, and you know about it, but we've had other people that haven't been as supportive when we felt that they should have been. Now for us, there's been kind of some vindication for us doing what we've done on the journey that we've been on to create something unique. And the fact that Harrison Ford rocks up because of local knowledge, because someone's told him, look, if you want to go anywhere, you need to go there because it's the coolest spot in town at the moment. And I think so that made us feel so much, it took so much weight off our shoulders and made us feel extra kind of good about the journey that we've been on. So it was a humbling experience, and it was so nice to see our team so happy, and these are moments that you cherish and remember and never ever forget.
Which I think is just wonderful and well done. I was very, very proud, tinged with a hint of jealousy, because clearly Harrison.
Well, I'm getting so much heat of everybody, from the family and everyone. Why, it's just one of those things, you're kind of not in the frame of mind to say, or ring, text everyone, say, look, come on, Harrison Ford is here. There's photo opportunities for everybody. It's not that kind of a situation.
No, I get that, and I appreciate that, but I'm not bothered about anybody else. I'm not bothered, to talk very, very honestly and frankly.
Well,
at the end of the day, Jalf, I'll remember you for sort of not inviting me, especially when I was literally for the first time in such a long time in town.
Oh my God. Did I speak to you just before that, on that day, Ammar?
I spoke to you.
When you called us on that day and you're on Grey Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly.
So why would I be bothered about your brothers or your sisters or anybody else sort of giving you grief? I'm just being dead honest.
You know what?
At the end of the day.
Do you know what, Ammar?
If you remember the Bill Gates scenario, and one of our other friends.
Yeah, it's like gut wrenching, isn't it? For our friend that was.
And then the same thing with the David Cameron thing, if you remember that.
Yeah.
There's been
being outside the parliamentary gates.
Yeah. Anyway, it's you're right. I mean, look,
Ammar, do you know what? There's millionaires. I've got a few friends, few millionaires, and I've been getting texts from them saying that, look, and I remember speaking to this multimillionaire friend of mine, and he was saying, oh, look, come here, Jalf, have a look at my diary. For the next 6 months, every single half-an-hour slot is booked. And I was like, wow. I said, that is just mad. So you don't have a half-an-hour break so your 8 hours is blocked. So that particular individual sent me a message saying that, oh my God, you know that Harrison Ford is my all-time hero? And if he does come back again, which he said he might, if he does come back again, could you please let me know, and I can come on short notice? And I was like, wow, so the man who's got every single half-an-hour slot blocked for 6 months will come at short notice.
Yeah,
so it was
okay. So there's priorities and there's priorities, right, Jalf? As in, if for me, Harrison Ford, yeah, icon, incredible person. But if Her Majesty, sort of ever got in touch and sort of said, right, Ammar, I'm around.
I'm doing some tea. I
I'd
want
be,
to come over.
I,
Come
I,
over to yours.
that's probably the one person who I think is incredible. As in, is the most, and people sometimes struggle with this, right? But I just think she is a wonderful woman, a Wonder Woman almost. And growing up, I think if Wonder Woman turned up, like Linda Carter,
Who?
I'd be
What?
interested.
The new Wonder Woman or the old one?
Well, obviously, the new ones clearly uh, more modern and update. But Linda Carter was the old one, and that's the one that I grew up with.
Linda
So,
Carter. Really?
yeah,
Well, is that and back in the day that Wonder Woman looked like a cheerleader, didn't she?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like she was slightly, yeah. She was like, she had to be robust and strong and things like that. I mean, the way that they portrayed this current Wonder Woman is like a model, isn't she? She's
Mm.
super attractive and all of that. Whereas the original Wonder Woman,
Mm.
like, and can you remember Benny Hill? Because he had a blunder woman. Can you remember that?
I remember Benny Hill, the
Yeah.
fat dude,
What?
the fat guy, right?
Yeah.
And
The,
Michael Jackson
the,
apparently used to love Benny Hill.
who?
Michael Jackson.
I think I cannot admit or I cannot confirm or deny to liking Benny Hill live whilst this is being recorded because it was apparently so politically incorrect. But in fact, it was a significantly funny program in keeping with that era. A bit like Russ Abbott, a bit like Kenny Everett, a bit like all of those characters that I grew up watching.
Mm.
Can't change what was on television. And now, where we are, those things that happened historically, um, knowing what I know, maybe my view would have been different then. I didn't know what I know. It was
Mhm.
very normal. It was on national television and people loved it.
Of course. And that was an era. And look, certain things were okay in certain eras. And at the end of the day, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
So why should you have to apologize about how society was then? It's just how it was,
No, but
right?
it's sad, isn't it? It's a very sad state of affairs. And, just talking about Her Majesty the Queen, in one of the, either Oxford or Cambridge, right, one of the colleges, this
Uh-huh.
week, this week, the students have voted to take a picture of Her Majesty the Queen off a wall.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so it's silly. Rowan Dahl. Is it Rowan Dahl, isn't it? Who wrote the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and all those other amazing books.
Yeah.
And he sadly died so many years ago. And apparently his family had to make a apology on his behalf that he made some comments about a particular group of people, 50 years ago. And I just don't understand it.
Disgusting. It's wrong.
Yeah.
They did suggest he was a racist. Now, the problem is, Jeff, we live in a very peculiar world, right? And we always have done, because, like, either you try and fit in at the time, and later on in life, because that was normal, you're then persecuted and you were wrong for trying to fit in, or you're outspoken and you're persecuted at the time. It's just, you cannot do right for wrong. Now, look, there's many a thing in hindsight I've said or done, which I'm clearly not prepared to capture here live on air and record. That in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have said or done or whatever it is. But hindsight is the best foresight, and it's wrong for us to try and remove history and heritage from any culture, from any religion, from any physical space. You know, it's like they talk about colonialism, they talk about slavery. Of course, it was wrong, but historically, that's how the world operated. It was
Yeah.
people traded in people, and that wasn't just a particular race. You can go back to, Prophet Jesus, you can go Prophet Moses' time, you can go back to Egypt, you can go back to whatever civilization you want. That was how the world operated.
Yep.
It's changed. It's gone on. We are where we are, and interestingly and curiously, we need to not remove those things. We need to recognize them and respect them for what they were at that time, and to also help inform how things have gone on. If we delete things, as soon as you delete something, right, like permanently delete it, you can never go back to it, can you? You can never go back and say, "Oh, that happened or that existed." I mean, I'm genuinely, I love um, learning, and I learn things about the historical. If you look at that, if you look at COVID, economic, social, health impacts. There's so many similarities from various plagues, pandemics, different eras. Now, those times, if we didn't have that information, because at that time there was like there was certain countries conquering others, and it was wrong, or we didn't accept the way that they lived then. Now, imagine if we deleted all of that information.
Hmm. Of course, and that's what life is all about. You can't change the history. You have to, if something was not right in that particular time in history, it should stay as it is, without it being um, manufactured differently, because people are trying to change history and the exact occurrences to suit their political agendas and things like that. If history is as it was, and it should be told to us as it was, then we need to, if a policy of a way of life was so bad, whether it's down to trading and people and A, B, C, and D, whether it's women's rights or racist people and this, that, and the other, it needs to stay, and we need to evolve from it, and humanity should improve based on how it was in a previous generation. So that's the only thing that we should do with it, not try and fabricate it differently to what it was. And then a lot of people are doing that because apparently, Google is so powerful that it's wiping out historical occurrences for what they were, and they're trying to either not have it there anymore, or trying to kind of portray it in a different way. So there's that big agenda going on as well at the same, which doesn't make. Imagine young people growing up trying to understand history, and they can't find the real history anywhere because it's so much of it is electronic.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I pulled out a book, and an Egyptology. I'm sort of so interested and intrigued by Egyptology. And I pulled out this book the other day, sat down with my son, and we started going through it. And it was about one of the expeditions, but it was like a really creative book with different photos and artifacts, things like that. And he was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," because everything that he sees is like this, touching, feeling things, and whatever. So it was great. And we're going to get Andrew Wilson on in a minute, talking about the People Power event that's coming up at the end of this month. So we're going to get Andrew on for about 10 minutes, and he can tell us all about what's happening particularly as we're trying to come out of lockdown, trying to organise events, activities, and things like that. It's taking place at the Hilton Hotel, and it's quite interesting. So let's get Andrew on, and he can tell us all about it.
Hello, Andrew. Are you able to connect?
Connecting. Still connecting. There we go. Good morning, Andrew.
Ammar, how are you doing? Hi, Jalf.
Hello, Andrew.
Yeah, lovely to see you. Excuse me. Please don't swear. You're live on air.
I never swear. I never swear, Ammar.
Well, I know you don't, but I just, on behalf of, is it Ofcom or whoever our regulator is, I need to just highlight that.
Absolutely.
So great to have you on this morning. Lovely to see you, Andrew. And,
Thank you.
Let's kick off by, do you know Jalf? Have you met Jalf previously?
I think we met briefly before. Hi, Jalf. How are you doing?
Hello, Andrew. You okay?
Yeah. So Jalf's co-founder of Asian Business Connections and the foremost restaurateur in the world now, having opened up Thai Kai and being visited by Harrison Ford this week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Harrison Ford actually looked him up and looked it out for him and the restaurant and spent a few hours there. Andrew, let's start by saying who you are, what you do, and why you do it, please.
Yeah, thanks, Ammar. I'm Andrew Wilson. I'm a director of a company called The Project Studio. We're based in Gosforth, Newcastle. We're a small events management and project management company. Been around for a few years now, and we're here to talk about one of our main events, which is called People Power, which is all around stressing and investing the importance of people in business.
Excellent.
And the Project Studio traditionally, Andrew, does what?
So we organize our own events and conferences. So as you can imagine, it's been quite a tricky time over the last 18 months, but we're looking forward to getting some light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully within the next few weeks and into the later stages of this year and beyond. We're an events management company, so we've got our own branded events. One's called People Power, one's called EQ, which is all around emotional intelligence. We also run an awards program for the contact center industry in the northeast of England called NECA, the Northeast Contact Center Awards. And we also contract out our services as well. So as well as organizing our own events, we contract out ourselves to organize third-party conferences and exhibitions for other customers. So quite a busy, small company.
Excellent. And Andrew, how has things been for you over the pandemic, the last 14 months or so?
It's been difficult, Jalf, I'm not going to lie, but we're still here, we're still trading. We obviously had to diversify and be quite nimble, as a lot of companies in our sector have, and I'm sure you can identify with that, being a restaurateur. You know, you've been at the sharp end of it all as well, in terms of impact on your businesses. So we've clearly we've had to go online and deliver a lot of our conferences and events in the virtual world, which has been a really interesting dynamic for us. So we've had to learn quickly and adapt, which has been an important lesson for our business. We've had a little bit of support along the way, but pleased to say that we're still here and we've still got the same staff establishment that we had pre-pandemic. And we're looking to develop now and grow through our own brands and increase our numbers and push forward on sort of top line and bottom line within our business, hopefully over the next year or two.
Excellent.
That's good. And digital adoption, how have you found that, Andrew?
Yeah, we've had to learn quite quickly. We've run events using Zoom. That's probably a platform that none of us were really aware of prior to February and March 2020, but obviously now pretty much everyone uses that. We've also used Teams predominantly for meetings and keeping in touch with customers and stakeholders. We've also invested in our own platform called On Air, which is the virtual version of an event management system called Events Air, which we subscribe to, and that's been really good for us because it's allowed us to deliver quite bespoke projects and events in the virtual world. So rather than just relying on Zoom, we've been able to be a little bit more creative with the use of On Air, and that's how we're running the virtual version of the conference that we've got lined up for the 30th of June.
And just talk about this conference, Andrew, please. As in, what's the background to it? What type of things happen at it, and why should people attend?
Yeah, thanks, Ammar. People Power is the name of this conference, and as the name implies, it's all around putting people at the heart of your business success. So I'm sure any business in any sector, large or small, can identify with that message. The event is all around motivating and inspiring business owners to invest more in the skills of their staff, in engaging with their people, in protecting and caring for their people, in inspiring best behaviors from their people, and really getting the most out of their staff to become more productive, profitable businesses. So that's all around people power. We've got 4 themes for the event this year. It's been running for 3 years. This year's event is on the 30th of June at the Hilton Hotel. So we've got a hybrid event. We're keeping everything crossed that we'll be able to go ahead with the physical version of the event on the 30th of June. But we've also got a virtual version of the event for people who prefer to join online. So we're producing a hybrid event on the 30th of June at the Hilton. Themes, I mentioned the 4 themes. One is talent, one is behavior, one is culture in terms of the culture of your business and how it deals with its people and employees. And the 4th, last but not least, is innovation. So we've put together a program which aligns to all 4 of those themes, and we've got some great speakers from the world of business and sport coming to address the audience and help them get the most from their people and grow their businesses in that way.
And what shifts have you seen, Andrew, in regards to sort of culture, behavior, engagement, all of these things, certainly over the last sort of 12, 18 months, and how important are all of those themes that you're focusing on?
Yeah, good question. I think there's been some definite themes emerging and maybe accelerating during the pandemic. One is well-being of people. There's been a lot of focus on mental health, hasn't there, in terms of protecting and looking after your staff with the whole mental health agenda, which has all been really good. So we're backing that, and we've got some speakers talking around that particular subject through the People Power event coming up. We've also seen a lot of emphasis on employee engagement, staff engagement, keeping everybody in touch, keeping everybody involved, using technology. You mentioned digital adoption before, Ammar, using technology to make sure that everyone's aligned with the core strategy of a business, but also that people are kept up to date socially as well, because you haven't got as many touch points, obviously, through the pandemic. So it's been really important for people to use Teams and other technologies to keep in touch with people and keep people in tune, not just kind of professionally, but also on a personal level. I think that's been a really strong feature of businesses, large and small, through the pandemic. So employee engagement as well is a big thing for us, and we're going to be featuring that heavily through the People Power event coming up in a few weeks' time.
I think that it is fantastic, and as Jalf says, it's excellent. But I suppose just picking up your point about well-being and engagement.
Yeah.
Andrew, any advice or top tips on the new, I hate this term, new world. It's not a new world. We're still in the same world. It's just
the new normal. I thought you were going to say.
No, I was nearly going to go. I think I was nearly going to go there. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. This current way of living and working, because actually, I don't know about you, but I spend or can spend anywhere up to 12 to 14 hours a day sat here.
Yep.
And the last thing I want to do is sit here even more and someone go, right, how are you feeling? How, you know, that type of thing. When all I really want is a hug, you know, you know, is the bottom line. So what type of things have shifted, and what are the benefits of those approaches that you've seen being a people expert, so to speak, Andrew?
Yeah, I think it's now probably more important than ever to break up your day. I'm sure you do that, Ammar. I'm sure you're not just literally sat in one position for 12 or 14 hours. You're getting out and about, going for a little walk just around the block, or moving away from your desk just for 2 or 3 minutes even, or 5 or 10 minutes for the odd break. Recharge your batteries throughout the day. It's important to get some fresh air. I mean, that's what we do in our business. We're a very small employer, but that's what I've heard very large companies pushing as well, in terms of encouraging their people to move away from their desks, because it's so easy nowadays with the new world of work just to stay, as you say, in one position, taking part in back-to-back meetings. People almost see it as a badge of honor, don't they, when they've said they've been in back-to-back meetings all day, as if it's something good to have done. But I think it's good to break that up a little bit and give yourself, you know, 15, 30 minutes between each of your meetings so you can collect your thoughts, and ultimately you're going to be more productive. Less is more in a lot of senses, so you can get more done by maybe breaking up your day a little bit and actually spending less time in front of your screen.
And I think they're very, very valid points. I must admit, I certainly don't get up and walk around as much as I should or could or would like to. Would I like to? I don't know. But it's just, you know, as in, I am fortunate in that I get up particularly early and manage to get an hour workout 6 days a week in. I think without that, I would have burnt out,
Yeah.
you know, undoubtedly. But that was probably prior to this, but it's even more important in this. And yes, do try and I do try and sort of, you know, get up, walk around, do something different. I don't know if Jeff's got a crow in the background or something like that, but anyway, Andrew, so how do and where do people find out more about this, what sounds like a fantastic event?
Yeah, thanks. People Power Events, all one word, is our website, and people can see all of the details of the event, the lineup of speakers, what we're going to be talking about, some of the features through the day. We've got fantastic speakers. We've got, you know, a female boxer and professional footballer coming to speak. We've got Bruce Daisley in the audience, who was the vice president of Twitter, ran Twitter in the UK. Got a lady called Sarah Ellis, who's talking about squiggly careers in terms of a more mobile, agile way of working. So peoplepowerevents.co.uk, or find us on Twitter at PP Events, or we're on Facebook and LinkedIn and Insta as well. Ammar, so we're quite active on social, so people should be able to find all about us, whatever channel they go to.
Wonderful. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, Andrew. We'll get you back on after the event so you can give us some top tips and highlights and tell us how to improve our health and well-being and culture and those type of things. And you know, thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Jalf. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys.
Excellent.
Bye-bye. That was Andrew there, Jalf. I think it's so important, isn't it?
I think it's really poignant what he's doing, especially in this climate. I think it's bang on the people power theme that they have. It's just excellent.
Yeah, no, and we're coming up to the end of our show.
Yeah.
You know, we've got an Armed Forces Covenant signing in a couple of weeks' time, Jalf, on Armed Forces.
Excellent.
I would encourage as many people to get signed up to that, please. And in parallel, we've got so much else going on. Some really positive stuff, Jalf, happening.
Well, I think hopefully it's just it's the route of getting back to where things used to be post the pandemic. So let's hope that we're on that trajectory. And if there is a delay, all done, Ammar. Catch up with you next week.
All right. You've been listening to Ammar.
Start donating vaccines to countries in need.